part. Hi everyone, I am here today and I'm so excited to talk to you about this new adventure that I'm on. As some of you may or may not know, I have been actively working through the trauma that I've had in my life. And as we've all learned, if you've been following along with the summit or just talk to me in person, because you know I bring this up pretty much anywhere, anytime, how all of the traumatic experiences we've had in our life are not a mental issue, they are a nervous system issue, and so that means they're stored in your body. And so while I've been working for years on the emotional aspects and the coaching and trying to figure out how to handle it, I realized how much of it is actually stored in my body. On top of the emotional trauma, I also was in a car accident many moons ago, and I broke my jaw. It shattered, or split right here, shattered over here, and it caused, over the years, it actually ended up causing issues because one of the vertebrae in the back was over just a little tiny bit and no one caught it. And then it was several years later, I was losing feeling in my hand and then got an x-ray, and it turned out my spine had tried to compensate, because our bodies are awesome, and try to get us in balance. And so in doing so, I've had other issues, and I have been working now with Szilvia to work on trying, well, actually, she's going to explain it.
Yeah, that was a really cool intro, Wendy. I really love hearing your story, and especially we just finished with our first session together. Mm-hmm. The way I work, first of all, I'm super honored to work with you, Wendy. I'm really hoping that I can do as much as I can and everything I can do to help you. But what I do is I combine the asana practice with ceremonial work. In my native ways, I'm a Turanian, and I work with my music. I use my medicine drum and singing, in our healing ways, the vibrations that are positively affecting the body, your fine web around your body. And we are basically repatterning Wendy right now. And we are in the really beginning of getting to work with each other. And so right now I'm assessing and learning about Wendy. And I'm also learning about myself, how I can access and relate to her. And so we're using Forrest yoga-based asana mixed and combined with the ways that I am starting to develop more in newer healing ways and movements, combined with this little gadget here, the BLA. And Wendy has her own right now that she's using for the next, I believe, 3 months.
Yeah.
We're going to be experimenting and work with it. This thing goes in your mouth.
Want to say it and I'll do it so you can talk?
Yes.
So it's very hard to talk with it in your mouth.
Yes, so as Wendy described about the accident, definitely affected her alignment in the neck and the jaw. And this little gadget was invented to help create a realignment and a training of your muscles.
Right.
Yeah, inhale, open, exhale, close. Yeah, and use your hand to hold on to that little thing at the end. Yeah, not the whole thing, just a little circular area. Yeah, right there, the tippy top. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Yeah, and then there's another dimension when you put it horizontally. And now what this does is that it opens up. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. It opens up the vagal channels from the neck down into the pelvis. So we are creating new neurological pathways and rewiring in her body, combined with a connection to the core. And of course, you will be touching on those areas of trauma, So we are working really intimately and closely and carefully, but very directly, with staying in the body. So today's session was all about me whipping poor Wendy. At some points, Wendy, I must say, I felt a little too harsh on you.
It was awesome.
I was catching myself. Oh my gosh, she's gonna hate me.
No.
I have a tendency to be super hardcore and very strict, driving force with my students. So I was like, oh my gosh, she's gonna hate this.
No, honestly, so for people who are hearing that and be like, I don't know if I want that. It's amazing, especially if your mind mind is wandering, which mine has a tendency to do, anyone who knows me knows my mind's going a mile a minute. And because she's constantly on me for the little adjustments here and there, it really helped keep me present, because whenever she was quiet for like a moment, my mind would just go, but then she would say something, I'm like, oh yeah, it would bring me back. So if your mind is a wanderer, then yeah.
Yeah. So she's in the beginning now to learn how to stay in her body, because when you're in trauma mode and you're traumatized, your coping mechanism in that moment when trauma happens is to shut the memory out of your body. And what happens is that your spirit gets ejected out from your body. So in my practice and in the Forrest yoga practice and teachings, we're learning how to guide people back into their body, because that's where the work needs to be done. Mm-hmm. That's where Wendy needs to arrive and teach her body that, babe, this is a safe space. Yeah. That's what you're teaching your spirit, so that you can really feel and connect. So this is our number one, step one, feeling. Mm-hmm. Being aware of sensation in the body, and then eventually teaching your body in Shavasana, I was telling you, to notice one area where it feels good. Mm-hmm. And that way you start to educate your body how to amplify that positive feedback. Yeah. And that's the yumminess that your spirit wants to be. Your spirit wants to be in a body that is accommodating and welcoming. You eventually want your peace. This is also in shamanic teachings when you get hurt, emotionally, or in a trauma situation, when part of your spirit leaves your body. So you're inviting back your spirit, and you create a new kind of conditioning in your body and mind. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's for me, it was really interesting, because I've been doing yoga for a lot of years, and while I'm not a yoga instructor, doing it for 20 years, I've been doing it for quite a few, and I'm pretty good at a lot of the poses that are good for my body. But in doing this, and actually from the summit, I always bring it back to the summit, because that summit changed my life.
Because it was so rocking, actually.
Anyways, I realized how much I've always escaped my feelings, and during the summit, actually, one of the conversations brought up something, and I had a really powerful breakthrough during it in my own personal life, where I had a situation when I was in my teenage years where I got really emotional, and someone that I loved and cared for basically said, I can't handle you. And I realized in that moment, I started shutting off my feelings because it felt unsafe to feel. And so I've basically spent my entire adult life not really feeling my feelings. And you would think, at least over these years with yoga, I would have been feeling my body more, in which, don't get me wrong, I know how to feel. I do know how to feel. But it is definitely in certain situations where I've learned how to feel. Whereas this is helping me learn how to feel feel my body in a situations that are not sex. Let's just face it, right? Yeah. That's. I'm owning your O. Of course, I'm talking about sex. So just this ability to even feel the pain, to feel the pleasure, and then usually when I feel pain, I'm like, all right, time to leave, right? Let me focus on not being here and not being present. And so this was definitely a very challenging, but in a good way, a challenging, I can do this, oh yeah, I've got work to do. Yeah. Thing, because it's interesting. If you've been doing this a long time, then you know what I mean. And if you've never done this, you might be going, what does she mean by being in her body? And it really just means really being present. And actually, you gave a great suggestion about when you're supposed to, when say you're taking a yoga class and they say, all right, feel your body. What did you tell me to do? That was awesome.
I don't know.
About the floor.
Oh.
Yeah.
I really wanted to say that. Yeah, it's like giving your genitals into the earth for some tasty time.
So because of that, because she actually brought it back to, what I love to talk about.
I spoke your language.
Exactly. She spoke my language. It was really interesting. I was like, oh, I know how to get in my body that way. And then for people who don't know how to get in their body when they're having sex, all of this practice will help you be able to get in that body. And if you have a lot of trauma and you find yourself escaping your feelings and escaping your body, and, if you feel tension in one place, you kind of focus and go off in a different direction so that way you don't feel the tension over here, then creating an embodiment practice, I think, is really important. And then I want to mention, I'm super excited about this piece because, as you guys know or should know if you don't know, the vagus nerve, which is like my favorite nerve in the body, which goes from your head all the way down to your butt, and which means that when you are activating this particular device, you're actually toning your vagus nerve, which actually helps with your pelvic floor, right?
It's amazing. It's all connected. Yeah. So our objective is to defrost, unwind, making the body a safe space and an inviting space to live in. That's all we should be striving for, and making our connections healing.
Yeah. Yeah. So look forward to seeing more of these videos. I'll be documenting, the different things that we're doing. Do I have homework this week?
Yes, you will.
I will. Okay. So I will she'll give me homework, and I'll talk. So next week we'll talk about like the homework, how it was, doing it, and all that stuff. And hopefully you'll follow along this journey. And if you're interested in learning more about it, reach out to this one right here because it's really cool. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.